dear listeners, sorry, we just wanted to take a little bit of water and then we come back. Hey, Afro Political Consulting and Communications, we are looking at the conflict in Sudan. We have been looking at the main cause of this conflict, and now we want to look at how do the Nuer prefer to resolve their problems. How do they handle their issues? How do they readdress wrongs and conflict? You have heard the Nuer accusing the Dinkas for atrocities. It is because each of these tribes, they handle issues, conflict diplomatically in a different way. We also think that maybe readdressing wrongs in their community, maybe the Dinka, they don't care. Maybe killing is not a problem in their community. Maybe killing in Nuer, it is a great shame in their community. So this is what we want to see. Why that the Nuer always accusing the Dinka for killing them and committing human rights abuse. It is because that Nuer people historically did not believe in killing a fellow tribesman or another tribesman. Nuer, they are people who believe into international cooperation with their tribesmen. I'm talking about Nuer, their culture, their norms, and their tribal beliefs. The Nuer group of people, they believe in maintaining peace with the neighbors, especially where they expect to take their cattle for grass, for grazing. Because of their people are herdsmen, they expect to maintain good relationship with other neighbors in case they may need them for grazing of their animals. And good cooperation in Nuer, it is a strong norm that is very much respected. Nuer, they believe into respect of one another and respect of other tribes. Then we are going to look at how do they address wrongs. In readdressing wrongs in their community, in the political community of the Nuer, they believe that in case a man kill a fellow tribesman or a member of the community, it is wrong and is responsibility for that person who has committed the atrocity to pay back the wrong, or to be charged for the wrong he has committed. I repeat this. The Nuer did not believe in taking blood or killing, and they believe that in the case of any member of the community committed such act against a fellow tribesman, he is responsible for the act, the crime he has committed. So you can see why they want to bring Salva Kiir on trial, because of the wrongs he has invaded and killing other tribesmen. However, Nuer believes in defending their community. They believe that going into fighting against others, it is totally morally wrong, but it is very important to defend the tribe, your tribe, in the case of the invasion of other men. So as you can see the war today, that if somebody invaded by another neighbor, you have the right for self-defense and to fight back. Something very interesting among the Nuer people, when they wage a war, no one is allowed, as it is the case, no one is allowed for exerting influence against another man. In Nuer, when someone opened the war, no one is allowed to bring mediation among them. For example, in case someone invaded the Nuer community, they believe into what we call the vengeance. They will react against the enemy. Does mediation possible? Mediation and conflict resolution, is it possible in Nuer tribes? Yes, it is possible, but in what ways? These are the things the world leaders need to know and understand before modeling or approaching into South Sudan affairs. The Nuer accept mediation and reconciliation, but in what ways? This is how they handle their own issues. Nuer political community does not have the characteristics that their member recognize a common authority. Among the Nuer community, no individual or anywhere has the authority to say whether fighting is permissible or to cease fire. I repeat this. In the Nuer community, no any person, including outsiders, allow them to say whether fighting is permissible or you should cease fire. How do they do it? The Nuer themselves believe in leopard skin chief. They have a chief known as leopard skin chief. This person has no authority to command them to cease fire or to permitting them to go to fight. However, he is entitled to call the two parties together to hear different issues and listen to each group on the consent of the injured person or injured group. If the injured group is willing to sit down to resolve the conflict, then it is the responsibility of the leopard skin chief to call the two rivals based on the interest of the injured person. Then they come together, they resolve the issue diplomatically. So we can say that Nuer people, according to their culture, allows them to resolve conflicts, to resolve political issues, but at the extent or at the willingness of the injured person. As you have seen today, Dinka injured the Nueris. It was the responsibility of the Nueris to say, we are going to sit down and negotiate. However, they also have the priority to fight in case if they don't want negotiation, because it is their cultural belief. When this conflict escalates and each group doesn't want to sit down for negotiation, the leopard chief may act violently by cursing the two groups in order to intimidate them to come and sit down. So you can see that in Nuer still, they believe they can be coerced to sit down into negotiation, and they respond if there is such act of coercing them to sit and negotiate to bring peace and mediation in the community. This is in terms of culture and tribal perspective, how they readdress wrongs in their communities. And these things have been neglected by world leaders. They just send their armory, they just send bombs and whatever to invade and acting violent. The Nuer, they don't act violent to prevent the war or to resolve their political issues, their wrongs. They act peacefully according to their willingness, but not external forces. This is where the mistake. World leaders, they just send their arms, killing, fighting, that they are separating these two groups of people not to fight. What about the Dinka? Dinka believe in revenge. This is what the Dinka, by contrast, this is almost the same. Nuer and the Dinka, they are almost the same. But Dinka, one problem they have in Dinka, when a man kills a fellow tribeman or a man from another tribe, it is the responsibility of the Dinka people to demand vengeance or revenge against that tribe, and they will fight until the common cause to revenge. So you can see that this group does not believe into revenge, the other one believes into revenge, and that is the revenge that has been there for all many centuries. Dinka domination, revenge, fighting and other tribes. It is the main cause when the other tribes believes into self-defense against the enemy. Then that is the Nueris. Afro Political Consulting and Communication is Yasin, the director. We speak the truth, we disseminate the message, and we answer the question. Our job is to advise leaders democratically as freedom fighters. Aspects of leadership and the government authority will be the last in our approach to look at this conflict. How does the Nuer approach leadership and governance and authority? Among the Nuer political community, mean managing public affairs democratically and collectively, but not one man's rule in the community. In Nuer, we manage public affairs democratically and collectively, no decision by one person. However, leaders are chosen according to the characters and the virtues of each person, who respect the community, who has some political virtues to lead other members, and the members, they expect compliance, respecting that leader. This is the Nuer. It is not authoritarian. A leader leads into Nuer community, he leaves power and another one takes over. They do change one by one. They have power that are not in some social ceremonies in Nuer. Men, they may have some certain powers, attend some ceremonies that women may not be allowed to attend. Leadership in the Nuer is not hereditary, and also this is what I wanted you to know. It is not hereditary. The decision in the community, in the Nuer community, is decided collectively, as we can see collectivization policies in China. People, they work together, they sit together, and they decide the decisions in a collective manner, democratically, according to the interest and the will of each person in the community, as it is the case today in the modern democracy. Why do the Nuer use this approach in leadership, decision making? Because they want to maintain that every person in their community is happy. That's what they say according to the Nuer beliefs. Second, this is the book called The Primitive Government by Lucy Meyer. You can also go and continue to read more and understand the Nuer people. Lucy Meyer was a professor at Makerere University. She did a research about the primitive government or the African government to find how African people rule themselves in terms of culture and tribal perspectives. Nuer people are very careful about maintaining peace and respect. Nuer, they are very keen and careful about maintaining peace and respect in their communities and other neighboring tribes. Listeners and viewers, these are not my own words. They are words that I got from research, asking people, and research through different written materials that has been there for centuries and centuries. And then I wanted to share this information with you and my own experience. I myself, Yasin, I have lived with Nuer and I have been with the Dinkas, so I know these two tribes very well apart from academic discourse. Afro Political Consulting and Communication Z. We are looking at the conflict in Sudan, South Sudan, Africa since independence. Where are we from, and where do we go from independence? What have we done so far? Nuer people are very careful, as I've already said. For example, one example that I wanted to show you, when the British invaded the Nuer community in trying to compel them to exert or to submit their their loyalty to the British colonial masters. They didn't do nothing. They were so easy to collaborate with the British, as they did to collaborate with the Dinka, as they did to collaborate with the Upper Nile or the Egyptians. So Nuer, the British didn't found any form of resistance in the Nuer tribe to make them loyal to the British imperialism or colonialism. However, by comparison, unlike the Nuer, the Dinka were resistant. They acted resistantly toward these colonial masters. Some of them fought the British invaders. So you can see still the nature of fighting the Dinkas, it's by hereditary. By comparison, as I've already said, unlike Nuer, the Dinka have authoritarian and dictatorial system of leadership. I repeat this, unlike the Nuer, who believes in collective decision making and democracy, Dinka, the system of governance in their tribe is authoritarian and dictatorial or aristocratic families. They are like the house of Babon. Leadership is hereditary. One come after another. As you can see, the power in SPLM today. One can call Dinka to rule or just autocratic or communist style. It's like a communist style of leadership. Among the Dinka, certain position of authority are hereditary, and the authority just attached to them are almost the same. The Dinka certain clan has just a monopoly for ritual power, which symbolize that they own sacred fishing spear. The Dinka believe that they own a sacred fishing spear. And people who do not belong to the lineage of the sacred fishing spear are known as collective people of the war spear. People who do not belong to the collective spear are known as people who do not belong to fishing spear, they are known as people outside the collective people, the collective people of the war spear. This means that this clan should go, the minority should go on the war, they should go on hunting, and the Dinka remain at home praying for them for the victory, and they bring the victory back home. In South Sudan, Dinka dominated the entire system of government today. This is what we want to look at now. Looking at just the situation and everything I've said, I can say that in South Sudan, the Dinka dominated the entire system of government because of the status quo, which resulted into their own historical and cultural perspective, that they dominate, they rule by authoritarian. Their leadership is hereditary, and no one should take it from them. That's why when Salva Kiir came to power, he still have that mentality that he is the leader and others should follow him, because it is hereditary. But I want to leave you the question: is Sudan, South Sudan today, liberated by the Dinka or by the Nuer? If it was liberated collectively, why don't we sit and elect a new leader? A leader who will be acceptable, just or accepted by all Sudanese collectively, as it is claimed by Nuer. Was it morally right for Salva Kiir to suspend other liberation fighters out of his government? These are the questions what I want to leave with you at this night. Afro Political Communication. We are in North America, looking at Africa, where Africa came from, where Africa is today. Especially our emphasis today, we are looking at South Sudan the conflict between Dinka and the Nuer. As we have seen, the Nuer has always the victim of the Dinka. As you have seen, the spear, the fishing spear that the Dinka is using is affecting other people, other tribes, and perceive them as the minorities, the slaves, the victims of the Dinka domination. And this war today, many Nueris, they believe in ending this status quo, the impunities. They want to set up a new form of government based on the modernization, based on the modern democracy. And this is what we believe in. This is what the Nuer people believe in. They believe in the creation of democracy, liberty, and freedom, which respect the human rights of the people. They do not believe in hereditary and the succession system, as I've already told you, for the Kingi, Louis, or the Baboni rulers that the many Dinkas believe in. And also, I want you to leave you with something very simple, that the Dinka system of domination, politics, is very much similar to what happened in Rwanda, whereby a single tribe, they believe into the client, contract client, patron client, where the Tutsi were the patron and the Tutsi were the client. They could bring everything and feed the Tutsi, whereas Hutu were just suffering under the clink or the small group of people. So Africa today, why don't we change the mental problems, the cultural perspectives, which has locked Africa into conflict forever, and we change our attitude towards another. The only way that I think that the education will be the key to change the minds of we people. We are the victim always. I love you and I wish you all the best. I call the international community Ban Kim, the America, United States, Canada, as one of the largest shareholders assisting the people of Southern Sudan, that do not get tired. This is Africa. We should help one another and find a new system of Africa by breaking off the dictatorship of Salva Kiir and create a new independence based on the interest of all different groups. I wish you all the best. May God bless you. Yasin, Afro Political Consulting and Communications. We are with you. You can call us at 604 355 4434, 604 355 4434, or you can go down to our site and put a post there. You can also find us on Facebook. We love you. Long life Africa, and long life the international community. Best wishes. Happy New Year for 2014. Thank you very much, and good night.